Recording is on.
Cool. We are recording. Very well. So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for the town hall before the EPF 7, before the next protocol fellowship cohort. So yeah, we welcome you here to give you a better insight into what we are preparing, what the protocol fellowship is, what to expect in the upcoming cohort, and yeah, get you ready to participate and work on some cool stuff in Ethereum core development. So yeah, here we go again, as they say. After a year, we once again ask you to become a core dev. We want to help you to start working on some actual projects as part of the core development. So that's what we are here for. I hope you are ready. Let me know if you can see the slides and everything. By the way, it seems like everything is working, but just in case, feel free to speak up. So first, I want to ask, what is core developer? To be able to understand what we are even doing here in the fellowship, we should properly discuss what are we even talking about when we talk about the core development or Ethereum protocol in general. So a core developer is somebody who upgrades the core protocol, who maintains the core protocol, who does research and development that keeps the core protocol going. So this is very important distinction here. So the things that the core developers do is the actual client work. It's the whole fellowship, the whole program that we organize here is focused on the actual Ethereum, so the most tangible part, right? If somebody asks you what is Ethereum, you might say, it's a blockchain or it's the future. Ethereum is a community, right? But the most tangible part or the actual part that defines what is Ethereum is the specification that explains how the protocol actually behaves and the implementations of the protocol, so the actual clients or the nodes that are running in the network. So the core developers work is actually this, like the platform, the underlying infrastructure that all Ethereum runs on, so the Ethereum itself. This means the clients, the implementations in different languages, the Ethereum improvement proposals or the EIPs, the proposals that specify some new features or changes to the protocol. So again, people doing the research and doing the actual upgrades of Ethereum that needs to be tested. So this is one of the actually most important part of it, because what we don't realize is that this work is extremely crucial. We are talking about the fundamental layer of a network that handles like hundreds of billions of dollars and many people's lives and very important things. So we need to test it rigorously. We need to make sure that it's all very secure, not just scalable and usable for people, but most importantly, it needs to be thoroughly tested. So we have big challenges to make it better for people, to make it more scalable, to make it more useful. But we do that with this engineering approach where it's just important to not just test things, but to research them properly, analyze, prototype, and then go through this also long testing process. So that's also important part of what we do. And generally, the goal is to improve Ethereum for everyone, just make this baseline better for everyone. And so without the core developers, Ethereum wouldn't be here, right? Like that's the protocol lives by itself. But the maintenance, the constant improvements are necessary to keep it running, for security vulnerabilities to be patched, for new cryptographical schemes that, I don't know, can be quantum resistant, right, in the future, and so on, to be applied. So there is some constant evolution process because the technology evolves, right? We're going to talk more about that. So the constant maintenance is just fundamental. Right now, there is around more than probably 200 core developers across like 24 different teams. This core protocol is not developed by Ethereum Foundation. Me and Josh, we are from Ethereum Foundation protocol support team, and as protocol supporters, We are supporting all the protocol, all these various teams. So it's sort of like a helper coordinator role between all these different parties that are working on the protocol. It's not a single entity. So these different teams are from Ethereum Foundation. There's research or some developers, but there are many other client teams implementing their own clients. So it's a very vast community that collaborates. They implement the same thing, but they don't compete. They work together to make the best out of it possible. So it sounds maybe like a lot, 200 people, but also in context of how many Solidity developers there are, like on-chain developers or other sort of technologies, I don't know, Linux or so, it's not actually that big. We need more people to join this special community of like a couple hundred people there to help us to maintain the protocol, to improve it, to push it further. So this is what we do. Again, as I mentioned before, everything starts with specification. We start from defining how the protocol is supposed to work, something that is clear and we all can agree on. And this is implemented in clients. The Ethereum has two parts: the execution, which you interact with as a user, the EVM, the actual transactions, and a consensus, that's the validators that maintain the tip of the chain, the actual majority vote. And again, everything needs to be thoroughly tested and follows the research of the latest cutting edge technologies that we can do. This is what we are talking about. I repeat this a lot, and I want to be very clear about this because there can be a ton of confusion about what the core protocol is. Because this is the platform, the fundamental layer of Ethereum. What we don't do is the application layer or the stuff that's built on top of Ethereum. So some dApps or DeFi applications or NFTs or even tooling that's based on that, or languages like Solidity. That's something that can be built on top of Ethereum, but it's not inherently part of the protocol. So again, this fellowship is about the core protocol itself, about the clients, about the nodes, about the low-level languages implementations, and not the sort of like Ethereum developers in a sense of a DeFi developer or Solidity developer, not the applications on Ethereum, but we are basically the platform powering them. Right. So you can imagine it that like we build the roads, right? Like we build the infrastructure, the underlying platform that everyone else can use. We have the boring job of like taking out trash and like no, that is a good example. The fixing the roads, right? The potholes, and you come to a place, it's full of potholes. It's not a good blockchain. We need to make it smooth so we can have faster and faster cars, or maybe some bullet trains. We figure out many ways to make it faster and more scalable. But that's what we build. We build the infrastructure, not the actual things that are using the infrastructure. So that's important. And in practice, again, this means the clients themselves, so low-level languages. This is like Go, Rust, Java, C++, maybe C#. So the actual high-performance languages for the operating system level, not for like Solidity or so. I just want to avoid the confusion here. Many people come here expect to do Solidity. So just to be clear, we will talk about a client architecture and all of these upgrades and proposals, like prototyping the work that might be implemented in the future. And this is what is happening constantly. So like Ethereum constantly evolves. Again, Ethereum is full of very bright people who research the best possible solutions to the limitations of blockchain. And we are here to prototype them, to test them, to analyze them, and finally implement them to the live protocol. This is, again, very process that has to be done very carefully, but at the same time, we want to do it fast. We want to serve as many people as possible. And Ethereum has this process of upgrades through hard forks. So every year we have on average maybe one hard fork. Last one went live in December, as you can see here, December last year, so only like 6 months ago. Fusaka that brought the famous peer DAS, data availability sharding, one of the coolest upgrades to Ethereum blockchain in a while. And it's a part of not just like now we have some feature, but it's a whole process where we couple some major features together and work on it as a milestone to deliver to upgrade Ethereum to the next version. So the current version of Ethereum is Fusaka. Right now, it's being worked on Glumsterdam, the next upgrade, and we are already implementing this next upgrade, and we are planning one upgrade after. So Hekota is the one version after the next version of Ethereum. So you see, there is a lot of work across like the current priorities, the implementation, but also the research and prototyping of the future ideas that need to be sanity checked, verified, analyzed to be able to implement. So this is all the work done by the core developers to have the protocol live. This is live protocol that's still evolving and is versioned like this. And from the bigger perspective, there is the roadmap, or this in this specific example, the latest sort of visualization here would be a straw map, and it is nothing given. This is just more like a collection of ideas from some point of view of some Ethereum researchers of what the future of Ethereum could look like. If you look at the columns, the first two columns are Amsterdam and Hegota, these upcoming hard forks that I talked about, what's being worked on right now. And you see many other columns here, many more fields of so many, you have to zoom in, you can't even read that, but there is so many proposals and ideas that's being worked on in research or prototyping or being implemented in clients as optional features. And this is really the wild future of Ethereum, which I find very exciting, because when you look at the right side here, you find some very interesting outcome. It's very scalable layer 1, gigagas layer 1, teragas layer 2s, and private transfers, very specifically interesting for me, for example. So I find this fascinating, but this is something that can constantly change. Again, like this is something that's always evolving as we find the new frontier and new ideas about the future of the protocol. And we want to invite you to have this ride with us, to join us to explore all of these, because again, this protocol fellowship, Josh will dive into that. There are many projects to work on, but each of these little boxes, each of these box in the straw map can be like year of work for you, or like a whole like thesis dive into a specific domain. So it's a very vast protocol with many domains of the current priorities and implementations and the future research. So many exciting things from perspective of like scaling and networking and so on. And the most exciting part is like, once it will be done, we want to invite you to help us to finish Ethereum, or to put it to a state where we don't have to do all of these major changes anymore. So that's hopefully where we are heading. And yeah, to invite you along the way, we are organizing these programs. So there is a study group and protocol fellowship designed to make this easier for people to come in and work on this. As you can see, it's very confusing. There is the protocol is very vast. It's very hard to design like cutting edge, very complicated protocol for all of these secure networks. So it's a big wall to overcome. It's a big challenge, and we are here to make it easier for you to start working on it, to join the community of the Ethereum core developers and work with us. So yeah, we have two initiatives, and the one that we are announcing, preparing now is the protocol fellowship. But to get ready for that, we also run a study program that you can do on your own time, and Josh will dive into that, I believe.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Mario, for that quick introduction to what we're doing here today. To go a little bit deeper into these couple of programs that we run. The first one we'll talk about is the study group. During the study group, we do a synchronous study group where we take about 10 weeks to go through a bunch of curriculum of the protocol in a timely manner with people, with some live sessions from teachers and developers around the Ethereum community. And then we compile all of that into a curriculum that can be a self-study curriculum, something that you do on your own time to deepen your knowledge, or to learn about the things that you might be wanting to contribute to during your time in the EPF. So the main purpose of the study group is to bridge the gap between what you know and what you need to know in order to be a contributor to Ethereum's core protocols. And what that looks like right now is we have 5 different courses. We have a 101 course that teaches you sort of the overview of Ethereum. And then inside of that course, there are 2 deep dives, both into the execution layer and to the consensus layer. So talking about the different specs and specifics of each of those different layers. And then this year we have 2 new courses. One is the cryptography of Ethereum, taught by Matan, who's an amazing math teacher at the EPF, about all the different pieces of the cryptography of Ethereum. And then the sort of hot topic on the block these days is the lean Ethereum and ZK EVMs. So we have a new module that goes into those 2 topics as well. They consist of a series of 90-minute lectures. Those were given live, and that's kind of what I was referring to earlier when we do a synchronous course. Teachers come and teach these courses live, and we record them and put them up for posterity, and so that anybody can go ahead and learn from that knowledge as well. And inside of those lessons, we have some pre-readings and some quizzes and exercises to help you just get more clear on the knowledge that you're receiving. And then in addition to that, we have EPF.wiki, which is a collaborative knowledge base based on the wiki structure, where students who are participating in the study group or are not and just want to spread some knowledge about the protocol can write articles about different aspects of the protocol or update articles and this sort of thing. It is currently the most comprehensive knowledge base about Ethereum's core protocol in like one centralized location. The knowledge about Ethereum is vast and wide, and it is very scattered across the internet. So this is our effort at sort of bringing all that stuff together so that it is easier for somebody who is just learning about the protocol to have a place to both go to learn about and then contribute to that repository. Yeah, so that is a quick screenshot of EPF.wiki. Again, please, if you are interested in contributing to EPF.wiki, there is a bit there about contributing. Go ahead and follow those guidelines, and then open a PR and yeah, write some stuff for fellow students. And yeah, so that is, I think, it about the study group. And the second program that we run, and the reason that you all are here, is the EPF program, or the Ethereum Protocol Fellowship. And this is a program designed to make the process of becoming a core developer or contributor easier. As our friend Piper Merriam likes to say, the door to Ethereum contributions is wide open. You just have to step through it. This is our effort to kind of show you where that door is. The program is designed to mimic the experience of a core developer. So it is a very self-directed program. You are able to choose what you work on. So the things that you're excited about, the things that you're passionate about, we want you to follow those passions and to be able to work on the things that you are excited about. It is done in a very asynchronous way, with mostly knowledge transfers being done through written technical updates. We encourage you to explore this ecosystem on your own, and to like kind of find your own way through the different bits. But we are here to give you some guidance and to help show you the path down this road. The coordination for this program is done mostly through the GitHub repository and Discord conversations, as well as 2 weekly meetings that we have here on Jitsi. And EPF is and always will be a permissionless program. That means that anybody is able to join the EPF and participate and receive some mentorship and follow along the program with those that are officially accepted as a fellow. So yeah, if you're excited about participating, please do so. Some of the benefits of this program, we give you a sort of golden key introduction to the developer community and to mentors. People that are participating in this program are able to talk to mentors and other developers working on different clients and researchers, and are able to say that they're a part of this program, and they get a little bit more of a quicker response time, or it gives you a little bit of legitimacy when talking to developer community. We provide a semi-structured process, right? So we want you to be a self-driven developer and be able to kind of find your own way through this path, but you understand that it is a challenging thing, and so we give you a little bit of structure in order to help you to build some of these contribution muscles. Again, we want you to work on what you're passionate about, so find the things that you're excited about and either find a project that is related to that or develop your own project that is within those bounds of what you're excited about. Provide some mentorship from key client developers and researchers so that you're able to get feedback on the different things that you're working on. To a select pool of the applicants, we are able to offer a financial stipend so that you're able to focus your efforts on working through this program over the 5 months, so you're not having to take other gigs or jobs in order to make your ends meet. And then generally we give you some experience in what it's like to contribute to an open source project, especially one as fast as Ethereum. So this is the 7th cohort. We recently wrapped up the 6th cohort with an event in Argentina at DevConnect. And this is some of the details about that cohort. We had 43 fellows start the cohort and only 33 finish. So I believe we had about 20 official fellows that we accepted at the beginning. That means we had an additional 23 that participated permissionlessly, and that means that they submitted at least 1 or 2 development updates through the process. And by the end of the cohort, we had 33 that were able to complete the cohort, meaning submitting a bi-weekly development update, actually finishing a project with either themselves or with a group of fellows. The program happens over 5 months. Contributors submitted over 500 development updates for 31 projects. We had 20 weeks of calls, which are office hours and stand-up calls, and then we had 2 in-person events, one at the beginning of the cohort and then one at the end, like I mentioned, in Argentina. If you'd like to read more about what the 6th cohort looked like, read about some of the projects that people worked on, and generally what the experience was like, you can read this blog post on the protocol support blog, and that QR code will take you there. And here is a quick list of the different projects that people worked on from the 6th cohort. I'm certainly not going to talk about all or any of these really, but just to give you a sense of the breadth of the projects that people choose and get to work on. And you can see that there's like a few projects in there that are like kind of the same project, like you see Fossil in a number of different clients. You see, some Pure ETH stuff in a number of different clients. So there's lots of opportunities to work on things that you enjoy. All right, so quickly run through what the timeline looks like for the EPF program. We have phase 1, which is the time in which you will choose your project, create a project proposal, and then present that proposal to the rest of the fellows. We will be doing that remotely this year. Phase two is the longest phase, and it is the meat of the cohort, which is where you're working on your project, you're writing development updates for us to read and for your other fellows to read and for people who are following along. You're getting mentor feedback, and then you're attending the weekly stand-ups and office hours. And then phase three is the wrap up phase. It's the time where you're creating your final project presentation, you're writing your final development updates, and then getting ready to present your project at the DevCon event in India this year. So we're excited to invite those fellows who complete a project in a timely manner and are working and dedicated to making contributions to Ethereum to DevCon in November. And yeah. All right. So to join EPF, we are looking for candidates who have a technical foundation, who have some computer science background, some ability to write code, and have some software development experience. You should have some fairly strong written and verbal communication skills, again, in English, ideally. English seems to be the global language for technical development. So it is important that you're able to communicate with other developers around the world who are working on these projects. Be self-directed and self-motivated. As I mentioned before, this is a program that's meant to mimic what it's like to be a core developer. Many core developers work by themselves, like in their home or in a co-working space outside of their teams, because the client teams and research teams are widely distributed around the world. So your ability to work on your own and to sort of figure out what you need to do next on your own is an important part of being a core developer. You should be somewhat interested in low-level architecture, some of the root sort of things in like low-level languages like Go and Rust and or Python, things like that. And then generally have a passion for Ethereum and blockchain. We want you to be excited about this technology and not see this as just another job or a way to earn some money, but as a way to potentially change the financial system around the world. And there's some ideal criteria that we look for in applicants. We read every single application. We don't do any filtering with AI or any other weird sorts of filters, softwares. So we hope that your applications are well written and that you're clearly explaining your answers in your applications. You ideally have around 3 or more years of software development experience. Have an active GitHub account with some FOSS contributions, some open source contributions to open source repos. If you've attended the study group and have completed that curriculum, that is definitely a high signal for us. Having some proficiencies in in the low-level languages, like I mentioned before, Go, Rust, these sorts of things are great. And then, yeah, having done any sort of existing work on protocols or networks themselves is also another good signal that we look for. Cool. So the applications are currently open for this cohort. And they will be open until May 13th, which is 1 week from now. So go ahead and submit your application. And if you have not done so, go ahead and take a look through study.epf.wiki to look at the different content and courses that we have there for you. The program is going to start in June and will run through the end of DevCon in November, which I believe is earlier this year. I think it's like the beginning of November. Yeah, so that is where the application lives. Go ahead and scan that QR code or write down the link below to fill out your application. And there are some other important links for you if you would like to join the Google group, which is a very basic email server, more or less. We send out 1 to 2 emails a year announcing this program and the study group when it starts. Yeah, so thanks a lot for listening to us rant for a little while. We'll open the floor for some questions. Looks like there's a number of questions in the chat currently. So yeah, maybe I'll let Mario, you can go ahead and take one of the questions.
Yeah, thank you so much, Josh, and thank you so much, guys, for listening. Please feel free to send us questions or raise your hand if you want to chat about something. We already, I believe, answered some questions in Josh's presentation about the criteria, for example. But to touch on more questions, from where do we choose the projects? Is there any curated list? So yeah, the list of proposed projects or the ideas for projects that you can look into is being curated as we speak. In the repository that we shared in the cohort 7 repository, there is the project ideas file where we collect the project ideas from the client teams. And as you know, the core developers are busy. They are taking their time making sure that all the right kind of work is being chosen. The sort of projects are being defined, so they have the right scope and the sort of like priority level that the fellows can work on. So in the coming weeks, you will be more and more, you will see more and more projects coming in the file in the repository. But you can meanwhile also check all the previous cohorts. You can check some current work being done again with the resources that we provide, like forecast and the all core devs. So right now it's more about like doing just a general research about finding what is your niche, what sort of things you're interested in, and then as you see the projects coming in, you should do some research about it. You should learn about that domain of the protocol to see whether it matches your interest, your skill, and starting working on that. I would just like to highlight here that like so the mentors or the people from the core development teams are proposing these projects, but doesn't mean that you automatically should, go and ask them or just like ping everyone in the chat, like please avoid that. Talk to us before you want to reach out to anyone. And specifically in these first few weeks or even the first like month, there is really no reason to talk directly to developers. They propose this idea, so it's something that you can hang on to and research and gain understanding, and then come to them with like more insightful questions that are actually pushing the research further. So that's about like choosing the projects. Okay, what questions we have now? Can permissionless fellow of past year apply for permission version this year? Of course, that's a thing that we do normally. Again, the cohort is open. What we maybe didn't mention in the presentation here, like that the pool of the selected people will be smaller this year than previous years. We are aiming to choose only around 10 people. Maybe less than half from like the previous year, so it will be more concentrated cohort. But at the same time, people who are permissionless can always participate. And specifically, if you participate now, you build skills, you build reputation, and next year it will be much easier to then like be considered for the stipended permissioned sort of participation. But again, like people from previous years who already did some good job, we see your track record. It's definitely easier to apply. Like definitely, please apply.
I got a question about how to get started working permissionally if not being selected. We will post all of the calls and meetings and things in the Discord channel in the EPF R&D Discord called Protocol Fellowship. And you basically just join along. So like during our kickoff call, you join that call and you can participate in the discussion and all of these sorts of things. And we'll encourage you to choose a project just like any other fellow and give you feedback on your project proposal and so try to connect you with the mentor or mentors that will help you through this process. And then, we would expect you to continue to submit development updates and participate alongside of the rest of the fellows. You can find all of the information in the GitHub repository and in the Protocol Fellowship channel. So all of those things will be open and public to you. So if you're interested in continuing to participate permissionlessly, those are the ways that you would do that. Another question here about can we work on multiple projects during the fellowship? We tend to discourage people from working on multiple projects. We want you to pick a project that you can scope to be complete within around that 5-month period. And oftentimes, if you're trying to do too much at once, you can get sidetracked and things don't get complete. I think one of the biggest things that fellows often do is underestimate the amount of time and effort it is going to take to complete their project. And we would much rather see, a project with a slightly smaller scope be brought to completion than something super ambitious or multiple projects that don't get completed. So we would encourage you to choose only one project or and focus on that during the program.
Yeah, totally. So we have a bunch more questions coming. Let's take some time to answer those. Scout is asking, there was actually two similar questions about the research or sort of like a research as part of the fellowship. So generally, like the fellowship is maybe like 80-20 development and research. Again, the research is something that's also very highly professionalized and sort of like a next step after people for people who already understand the protocol and dive deep into it. They are able to become researchers. So generally, like there is not much of a level of projects for fellows to work on specifically, like just like in roadmaps or research. However, it's totally possible there is always some research projects, and what I would say that like the majority or like the most of the things that you find is sort of like a research prototyping. So something that is not just like some very like primordial soup sort of researching new ideas, but some existing ideas that need to be analyzed, verified, prototyped, benchmarked. So more like these tangible parts of the research can be found in EPF projects totally. So there is a place for researchers as well, but there is maybe like 2 out of 10 spots or something like that. It's not a big part of the. It's not a major part of the fellowship. The major part is the development itself, and even the research is connected to it. So I hope that that answers the question. And there was another one. Yeah, I have no open source commitments to Ethereum. So yeah, if you don't have any public contributions to Ethereum projects, that it's okay. You can still apply, and we will consider your skills, your experience, the way you present it. So please, in your application, share any projects that you worked on. What did you contribute to? Just highlight, if it's something closed source, just tell us about it or share some outcomes that you were able to share. We don't discriminate, if you don't have direct experience with Ethereum, it's definitely an advantage. But we are also looking for highly skilled people who are looking to start their Ethereum journey, not that they already started. And if you want to start with something small, I recommend looking into maybe some good first issues, sort of in repositories where you can, in a core repositories where you can see maybe something small to contribute to make yourself familiar with code base that you're interested in, and it already shows also your insight.
Some questions about the difference between a permissioned and permissionless fellows, if you want to touch on that.
Yeah, so it's a good question because there is not major difference apart from the stipend. Like the main thing is the stipend, because EPF is not a highly budgeted thing. Like we award this stipend to people who cannot participate in the fellowship otherwise. So for people who don't have any other sort of income and they need to sustain themselves during these 5 months of the cohort, if you are able to work on the fellowship without being paid and only getting maybe the trip to DEF CON or just like the opportunity to beef up your resume, that's the main reason to join us. And the stipend is like a bonus for people who we have high confidence in and they needed to be able to work on it. But then we all of it is public. We have all these calls and coordination completely out in the open. The people that we choose initially have a tag on Discord that shows that they are official fellow, and this is something to maybe give them a bit more credit in the eyes of the other developers when you initiate some conversations and so on. It's maybe a bit easier to talk to people, but again, we are here for you to connect you to anyone you need, so it doesn't really make such a big difference. So yeah. Everyone is welcome to join whether permissionlessly or the way that you are able to participate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. Another question here about what the typical time commitment of a successful fellow is. Um, it really depends on what your background is and what your experience is with software development. If you are just starting out and don't have a ton of experience, you can expect to spend, definitely 40 plus hours a week working on your project. If it's something that you are already pretty well versed in and have a lot of experience in the language that you're going to be working in or the particular domain, uh, you know, 25, 30 hours a week is probably acceptable. We expect at least 20 hours a week if you're going to participate in this program. It's definitely something we want you to spend some time doing and dedicate your time towards. But we also understand that, people have lives outside of this and maybe have jobs. And if they aren't able to procure the stipend from the get go, like there are other things that you have to focus on. So, but you can, yeah, expect to commit anywhere between 20 to 40 plus hours a week uh, for your success. Question about project selection from Ogu says, can we select a project from cohort 6 that aligns with our interests for the form and update it once cohort 7 ideas become available? Yeah, we're basically wanting to get to know like what sorts of projects you're interested in, right? So you're not in the application actually selecting a project that you're going to work on. It's more like what sort of domains are you interested in? What sort of projects are you looking at? What generally grabs your interest so that we can somewhat match people's interests to what sorts of things are actually needing to be done in the areas that we're focusing on for this cohort.
Yeah, again, like the actual project selection on what you are going to execute on during the cohort will happen after like first couple of weeks, like after week 4 or so, you will be defining the project you want to work on. So like 2 months from now, guys, like don't rush into choosing anything now. You should just demonstrate or show us what domain, what part of the protocol you're interested in, what is your idea that you plan, what do you see yourself working on, like just to give us an idea of what kind of interest you have. Yeah.
Yeah. Another question here about what is the meaning of completion for a project? You want to talk to that one?
Well, actually, the meaning again, it's defined by you because the fellows are ultimately specifying the project. So the part of the first stage of the fellowship is to define the project, which means specify, define the roadmap, and it's up to you what scope you choose. Again, like it should be a big enough scope to cover something meaningful in those 4 months of development. And the completion is meaning like delivering all or most of what you planned, but more vaguely, like it would mean like delivering some valuable contribution. So some piece of software or some new feature or something that's being developed by you and it can actually be used coming forward. So that would be the like actual outcome, not just like writing empty reports or something, because there are the weekly reports to follow your progress, but then we closely monitor what you do, but then you actually produce some outcome, something usable. And again, it doesn't have to be like production ready fully fledged software. It can be just some prototype, some beta, some sort of like analysis or something that can be used in some way. It provides some sort of value, and you define that as you start the project.
Yeah. A couple questions around permissionless participation. There's one around like, even if we don't get selected, we can work in EPF. Yes, it is permissionless. So if you are not selected, you are still more than welcome to come join us, participate, choose a project, work on a project, bring it to completion. We do reward those contributors who are doing so in a permissionless manner, those that are really sticking with it and showing those contributions, showing us that, maybe our selection process was wrong. We're only two humans that filter these applications. So like, we're certainly can make mistakes, or maybe the application wasn't really well written to describe your capabilities or your experience or whatever. So if you're excited about it, please do continue to participate permissionlessly. And then yes, if you don't care about receiving the stipend, there is no need to submit an application. You can just join us on the first day and start participating in that way. I would encourage you maybe to like submit an application just so we have some sense of what you're interested in and what your background is, but it's certainly not required. I think Mario got booted, so we'll wait for him to come back. But
Sorry about that. I just accidentally refreshed the page. I think I'm not sure if you touched on the deadline question when the results will come out.
no, I did not.
Yeah, so again, it's two of us, two humans who are not using really AI or anything to analyze your responses. So we are actually reading your application, giving it some thought and considering everyone who applies. And we have hundreds of people applying, of course. So it's going to take us a couple of weeks. Please, just we will get in touch with you sooner or later. The cohort will be selected before end of this month. But yeah, just keep eyes on the on your email that you used in the application. We will reach out like maybe a week after the application deadline with some first updates, and we will be inviting some chosen people to interviews. And after that, everyone gets their like acceptance or rejection email by end of the month. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that. We also have a question about open source contributions to Ethereum L2s. Yeah, I mean, any contributions to any FOSS repo is going to be a good look for your application. Certainly, if they are Ethereum aligned and like have to do with some protocols, that is also a great signal. It's not really about counting, right? We're not like, there aren't check boxes that you're having to check in order for us to say like, oh, this person has done this thing, so we have to accept them. It's more about like the holistic vibe of the application, like how much experience you have, what sort of stuff you're working on, and this sort of thing. So we don't take any one criteria is not more important than any other criteria. It is mostly just about the holistic bit of the application. And, as we've said a couple of times, like, we're just two guys who review these applications. We certainly make mistakes or misread things or whatever. So like, if you aren't selected for the stipended position, continue to participate, and if you do a good job, you will be rewarded.
Yeah, exactly. So just like present yourself and hope for the best. Again, like yeah, not a specific thing that would convince us, but like we are looking for somebody that wants to actually come through with this. Because there was a question, yeah, submitting the application early or late, that also doesn't do anything. Like actually, we'll probably have it open even a little bit past the deadline or so. Any application that comes in is accepted, and in case that you miss it by a day or something, you can DM to us. You can reach out to us for some late applications. We would like to consider everyone who really believes that this is a place for him or them. And yeah, and again, for a couple of people that we will be considering, we'll be doing interviews. So again, if we are considering your application seriously, you will receive an invite for an interview in coming weeks. Yeah, again, you will have to wait. I'm sorry if you don't receive an invite, but you'll just have to wait a couple of weeks for the response. And meanwhile, you can still get ready, still learn, and prepare for the fellowship if you want to participate either way, because you are just waiting whether you can get the stipend or not, whether you're in the situation that you really depend on some small stipend to get you through the fellowship, but otherwise you can just keep going.
Yeah. Question coming in about project selection. We aren't going to match you with projects. We want you to like figure out what sorts of things you are excited and interested about, what bits of Ethereum still need contributions, what sorts of things people are working on, what the upgrades are coming down the pipeline, and figure out what you want to work on. So, take the things that you've worked on in the past and the areas that you're excited about, the areas that you're knowledgeable about, and choose a project that feels exciting to you. As Mario mentioned, we will have a list of projects that have been submitted by client teams and research teams, but that's not it's not required that you choose one of those. We actually encourage you to create your own project, and we will help to nudge you in the right direction. Maybe if your project is like not super applicable to a client team, or is not necessarily something that we see as valuable, or this sort of thing, but we want you to be working on the things that you're excited about, and not relying on us or anybody else to choose your project for you. For the interview, there will be no technical interview. We don't do technical interviews. We want you to be able to describe your technical abilities in the application, and then we just have like a half an hour chat with you about what you're interested in working on, and to sort of see if you'll be a good fit for the stipended position. So no technical interview, but there is going to be a conversation for those people who we are selecting to move forward in the application process. Yes, if you choose something from the curated list, if you choose a project from the suggested projects, you still have to scope it. You still have to write a project proposal. All of that stuff still applies. So most of the project proposals are pretty bare bones, and you'll still kind of have to figure out what you need to do in order to complete it. So don't think that choosing a proposed project from a client team is going to make it easier for you necessarily. In case of rejection, will there be feedback? Unfortunately not. We receive hundreds of applications, and it is pretty impossible for us to give any real kind of feedback to anybody that is going to be valuable for you. So if you do not get selected, we would encourage you to just either participate permissionlessly, or if you feel like you're not up for it, or like the first month or so of the cohort, you feel like you're struggling, would encourage you to go back to the study group curriculum and participate in that, and really hone your knowledge. Find some good first issues. I did post a link to our good first issue aggregator for the Ethereum ecosystem in there, and take on some good first issues and get your feet wet with some of these contributions.
Yeah, just to elaborate on that, like we even like offered some individual feedback on request before, but honestly, like it always comes down to the same thing. Like it's just so competitive. Like even if you are good, again, we are choosing 10 people, and it's based on like this criteria of like also who needs the stipend. So it's not really that you are not there's something missing or so. Like you are very good. Many of you people are good, and honestly, if I can, I would just get all of you in, but it's just the limitations of what we can do with our budget, with our program right now. So the feedback is like, you can just always come and show your skills as permissionless participant. And to maybe also answer this, like if you're a permissionless or even if you are a paid fellow, like whether you can update your CV to include protocol fellowship. And my general advice is against this, in the sense that like the protocol fellowship doesn't really like show what you did. Like what you can do is like your CV or your like GitHub contributions or whatever show what you actually did. So whether you are permissionless or permissioned or whatever, you can just in your when you're applying, you can show, oh, I contributed this feature to this client, right? This is actual work that I've done, and whether you did it under like the umbrella of fellowship doesn't really matter. And specifically, I'm mentioning this because I want to discourage people to sort of somehow abusing this program to like beef up their CV and like put on LinkedIn that they work in Ethereum Foundation or something. That's something as well. Like you are not being employed by Ethereum Foundation here. We just help you to start your contributor journey, and the actual organization that you work with is those people that you collaborate with, the project that you actually contribute to, right? So that's how it works. But you will have the skill, you will have the actual work done. So then the future employer or somebody who wants to give you the opportunity to work with them uh, will uh, will then see what you actually did. So you need to always focus on that. That's why we do all these reports. Again, like we have this weekly reports, final reports, project ideas, and all of this bureaucracy is there to have like extreme transparency for people to see exactly what you've done. They don't. The fellowship is really just a label, but this shows what you actually did, right? Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not about the sort of like, yeah, being able to have this little tag on your CV. It's about the relationships that you're going to create with the fellows, with the mentors, with the developer community generally, uh, and these sorts of things alongside of what is in your GitHub repository and your technical updates and this sort of stuff is what is going to land you a job in one of these places, not the fact that you have this little thing on your resume or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there was a question about reapplying. I mean, feel free to send another application just with the same email or so, and add if you missed some important parts. Again, like specifically maybe some work that you did or something that is like important and you missed it before. If you did it, you can just update your application. Yeah, sorry, and mention that you are updating so we can connect it. So it's extra work for us, but we are happy to do it for you guys. We have again, we have a ton of manual work with this, so looking forward to reading your applications. And I mean, it's pretty much all we are going to do in the next couple of weeks, reading hundreds of your applications and trying to find the best couple of developers here. But again, we don't want to discriminate. We don't want to say that if we are not able to provide you the stipend, that you are not welcome to participate. This is open program, and we really invite everyone to be here. We invite everyone to apply. So we have your contact. We will reach out to you with all the updates during the fellowship in case you want to be informed. Uh, so always please make sure to submit your application and stay in touch with us.
Awesome. We are 7 minutes past the hour already, so I think we're going to go ahead and cut it there. If you have further questions, please go ahead and navigate yourself over to the Protocol Fellowship channel in the R&D Discord server. I posted an invite to that server and the channel earlier, but I will post one more here for you guys to join if you have not. Unfortunately, there's nothing else that we can do about the application. If we change things, it will mess up the programming for the application. So just do your best to uh, add what you need to in there, and we will read through them.
Yeah, also
Uh,
like be mindful of us, like how many paragraphs are we able to read when we are reviewing all of those. So be succinct and informative.
yeah. Yeah, so thanks for joining us, everybody. Again, we will be available in the Discord servers to answer any other questions that you might have. We look forward to seeing your applications and seeing you at the start of the protocol fellowship number 7 here. Uh, yeah, thanks so much, everybody. I'm going to
Awesome.
just assume that these raised hands are attempts at clapping. And if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the Discord server.